Birch said that she hoped Truckload audience would be so captivated by the music, just like we were, and dancing, that they would want to get up and dance too. We've got room on stage for about 30 people from the audience to come up and join in, she said. We're trying to make this happen. I hope they will want to. This is not going to be your usual Broadway show. At rehearsal, she repeatedly told performers, don't go for musical comedy, this is a discotheque thing.
The now defunct Q magazine, I can't speak, I can't speak, I'm like shaking, you're crying. It's better than I dreamed, okay. The now defunct Q magazine described a Truckload rehearsal that took place in the ballroom of a seedy old Times Square hotel that James Diamond talked about, which is now demolished. The ballroom was full of people, sweat, noise, and music. A gentleman with the beard of an El Greco saint and one gold earring was pounding on a small upright piano. He yelled out like a caller at a barn dance, and sure enough, the people stomped and stomped until the whole floor quivered. Howard Kissel was at the same rehearsal of Truckload and reported that rehearsals took place in one of the last hotels whose seediness has now been completely marred by the new high-rises. Both reporters noted that the ballroom that they rehearsed in was surrounded by these gleaming gold pillars that blossomed outrageously into banana leaves. Just like totally side note, but I thought that was an awesome description.
The creators were hell-bent on doing something different. Lewis wanted the characters all to contribute their special rhythms, and the result is a collage of blues, rock, gospel, country, and Latin. On a drive one day, Pat and Lewis saw a small car being towed backwards with people still in it. Wondered about them, got to wondering about people we passed by and never looked at. All of these ideas kept getting channeled into the show.
A New York Post article came out right after closing with the headline, Plays That Go Bump in the Night. It said, a show doesn't spring to life full-blown when the curtain goes up on opening night, nor does the theater season begin with the fall's first professional production. This new season began years ago with the writing of plays, months ago with the hiring of personnel, the raising of money, the beginning of rehearsals, the rewriting and restaging. Sometimes, as is the case with Truckload, the first new musical of the season, they happen to close after a few previews. Then suddenly, the unemployed actors scramble for other jobs. The directors are more discreet about it. The authors confront their own futures. Have they the nerve to try again? New York audiences know nothing of this. They are interested only in the shows that make it.
Not us.
Not true anymore!
The reporter went on to talk about a revival of Skin of Our Teeth, which had been abhorred across the board, and which just opened and closed quickly at the Hellinger. But it was produced by the Kennedy Center and the Xerox Corporation. Even granting that Truckload had been worked on in rehearsal, 5 days are nothing. You start to learn about a show's problems only when there is an audience. However, after 5 days, producers Holzer, Clark, and the Schubert Organization were told they'd need $500,000 to fix the show. In 1975, for that amount of money, they could do a whole new musical.
Some of the Xerox Corporation's money could have come in handy if the corporation had been as interested in new work as in safer institutional productions. It really hurts when a mediocre production has the money to have a suicidal Broadway opening when works of ambition have to close in previews because private investors can't afford to make repairs. The hurt is also part of every theater season, the part that begins before New York audiences know it.
Actress Cheryl Barnes starred in the show along with Debbie Allen and Eileen Graff. Barnes had a feature in the Sunday News after the show closed. She said, "We had survived backers auditions, production auditions, and rehearsals. A lot of us were about to get our first Broadway exposure. I had done 3 shows as a replacement, and then Magic Show. But this part, Glory, the woman evangelist who travels on a truck with kids, trying to find themselves, was perfect for me. It was Thursday night, and we had loads of materials to go in the next day. Our director, Pat Birch, called us upstairs, so I thought it was to go over new business. Instead, she explained that we'd been given our last performance. It was sudden, abrupt. I laughed. I had to. I cried later."
Okay, so I became obsessed with Truckload when I was assistant directing title of show at the Lyceum. And Jeff Bowen and I decided we were going to learn about every musical that had ever played at the Lyceum. And the Lyceum has, been around for a long time. It's a lot of musicals. And the one that we were most obsessed with, we were like, what is Truckload? Like, Truckload played at the Lyceum. What is this? Like, it had a book by Hugh Wheeler and Lucy Lewis wrote music, and we were so obsessed with finding out more about it. And we kind of couldn't, we couldn't find anything. And the two of us are such super nerds, we searched for a demo, we searched and searched, and we couldn't find it, so we barely knew anything about it. But we just we would talk about it, we would be like, Truckload played right here. And it became a cool thing that we were all maybe we'll never know, but we really wanted to. And so also, my best friend Katie and I became obsessed with this as well. We would talk about Truckload all the time, and we even made up our own title song because we couldn't find out how it actually went. I won't sing it for you now, but I will sing it for you after the concert if you ask. or Katie will. And actually a lot of people know it because we like sang it forever. Like we would just like sing it in public all the time. And we were like, maybe this is actually how it went. We don't know. So Katie became friends with a very wonderful actress named Nika, who is in Women on the Verge right now. And Nika's mom is Broadway legend Eileen Graff. So Katie was like, my friend Jen and I were obsessed with Truckload, and your mom was in it. So does she have anything? And so Eileen, amazingly, got in touch and sent us these demos of Truckload. So it's like 3 songs from Truckload, and it was like gold, because since titled show, I had been like, what is Truckload? And I listened to them, and actually it was hilarious because the title song is a teeny bit similar to our fake version. Our lyric was, I got a truckload, like it's very similar in a magical way. And so we were just like, could not have been more obsessed with this demo, and I think it was wonderful enough to send, and we were talking about putting Truckload, the title song, in the concert, and Kevin and I and Caleb were at Renaissance, and we were just like talking about it, and we were like, oh my god, Marty Thomas has got to sing this song, and we became obsessed with exactly what just happened, and this was months ago. We were like completely taken with the idea, could not have been more perfect. So we asked Marty to sing this song, and he was like, this song's crazy, this song was amazing. And it's just, the show sounds so crazy. And he was so excited. And then this summer, he was supposed to do it at the last edition of our concert. And because of another show, he suddenly went to go out of town. I was sitting with my friends, and all of a sudden, I get this email a few days before our concert that's like, Marty Thomas can no longer sing Truckload. And it was the most devastating thing that has ever happened, because I was like, that was like my dream, that is not gonna happen. And I had been excited about it for months, and we had been talking about it, and like it wasn't gonna happen. We were like, maybe someone else could sing it, but who else could sing it? And we didn't know. And I'd also gotten in touch with James Davis, but he was gonna be out of town. So we were like, okay, we don't get to do Truckload, this is very disappointing. I was so sad. And also, I should say that we looked everywhere but Louis St. Louis and Pat Birch. We asked everybody who might have worked with them how we could get in contact with them. And actually, it's so crazy because Todd Bonapane, who's in the last concert, worked with Louis and was like, I can't find his contact book. Like, nobody could find it. And we were very sad. We're like, we're not doing Truckload anyway, so, let bygones be bygones. Cut to this concert, we were like, let's ask Marty again. So we asked Marty again, and he's game to do it, and James is in town this time, which he wasn't last time, and Eileen is coming into town for her daughter's opening of Women on the Verge. We're like, oh my god, the stars are just aligning. It's incredible. And Nika's dad is actually Broadway orchestrator Ben Lindroni, who co-orchestrated Truckload, as well as Via Galactica, another favorite. So the two of them are both in town, and James is here, and Marty's gonna do Truckload. And I am sitting in that seat in the back of the ATA Theater with my best friend Joe, and I get this call. Louis St. Louis called Kevin. Louis St. Louis called the NYMF office. We're at intermission of a show at NYMF. Louis St. Louis is looking for you. He wants to come, maybe, and he wants to talk about it. And it was like the craziest thing that ever happened. We spent months looking for him, and then because of a miracle that happened on August 14th when Marty Thomas had to go out of touch with the producers, God bless you, Kansas City production of the producers, somehow we ended up with what just happened. It was like fate, and all of the stars in the theater were aligning. And I just don't even know. So every single time we do this concert, we talk about what the concert is about, and I didn't put a time when we do that in the script, because what this concert is about is Truckload.
That's so cool to see something that music that people haven't heard in 35 years, am I doing my math right? Or whatever that is. And good enough, whatever it is. But then our wonderful musical director, Caleb, from the demo that Eileen sent us, transcribed that whole piece. And when I got this call, I was like, oh my god, he's angry, like what, is he mad we're doing Truckload? I just don't know, I'm at this intermission of this NYMF show, and he was so wonderful about it, and he was so thrilled, and we were so happy to have everybody from the original Gals of Truckload here, I can't even tell you. So, moving on. I just can't. So, in fact, I built in a transition for myself because I knew I would be like red and crying and crazy. So in fact, I found out this past week what room at the Lyceum Pat Birch told the company of Truckload that they were closing in, and it was this room. Is that nuts? That's like the craziest thing ever. craziest room. And at the end of the musical, the characters all went off together under a giant plastic rainbow. When the sun came up, Truckload, I totally made a run-on sentence. They went under the rainbow when the sun came up. And Truckload was a story about people who really listen to each other. Like when you meet people in a bar, according to Birch. One afternoon after rehearsal, the creative team went to Rosoff's, the famous old theater hangout for lunch. This is now Tony DiNapoli's on 43rd, between 6 and 7. And Birch spoke passionately of wanting to bring the energy of rock concerts, such as those of Alice Cooper and David Bowie, to the stage.
Depending on how you look at it, Hugh Wheeler added, the show has either no plot or 12 plots. It's about the road. It's all centered on a highway with a yellow line down the middle with gas pumps and ordinary people meeting. Previews began on September 6th for a September 23rd opening. At that point, Wheeler, Birch, and St. Louis articulated Truckload as, wait for it, a musical tribute in this age of overmobility to all those countless Americans in restless transit across the U.S., some looking ahead eagerly, some looking back sadly, some uncertain of the future, some haunted by the past, all of them caught in mid-flight between yesterday evening and tomorrow morning.